selectmen, and here
Here
we
we are,
Yeah.
just fluffing all our chests.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
alright, so let's open this. So I'll call the meeting to order, 6:50 p.m.
Yes, that was it. And if we gave you 80% of what you're asking for.
John, you need a second to get all the attendees down, do your usual.
Second.
No, to get all the attendees, I don't know if John.
I don't know this gentleman, do you know what you do? Excuse me, could you tell me what your name is so I can put it in the minutes, or maybe you could write it
I'll
neatly?
write it because it's a weird form.
Okay, as long as you can do it neatly and legibly, I would appreciate that, thank you. I've put you down as Eldon just because.
Not
As
good enough
Eldon
for
Goodyear.
everybody.
Well, there was two
Does
that we
everybody take a look
had.
at it?
Do you guys get
We
you
had to
confused?
approve.
There-
Some
there-
past
well,
meetings.
There's
me.
some
I don't know.
surface similarities.
The
in
hair
that.
color.
December
The
3rd.
hair,
Yeah,
yes.
covered the board of selectmen.
He's got a better old car than I
You want
Well,
to
it was a
straighten
joint
it?
meeting,
confuse
so
you
we
with
do minutes.
Eldon? do. Yeah, the hair.
This is very brief.
The hair color. You
Oh,
know,
the ear
from
dot?
back.
Well, I could-
Correct, thank you.
He's got a better car than I do.
That's
He's got a
perfectly
Yeah.
good.
He's got a 1936.
Yeah,
I know, I saw it.
Show us done
Which
with
I
Should
already.
we have them? We might have to wait
It
until
looks
next
like an
week
Al Capone car.
to print the December 3rd meeting
I don't want to
minutes.
do, I want to do.
Yeah.
I only have one copy.
That's okay. You, Libby and I were the only ones that had
That
meetings.
was the big car.
So, let's go with December 18th meeting minutes. Does anyone, so I only have one copy, do people like go and read
I
it?
read it, yeah.
Read it? Okay.
It looked fine to
We're all
me.
dying
I
off.
move to approve the December.
So I thought that would
Well,
be
she
very
can't
good.
move because she
Resolution.
wasn't
Yeah,
there.
you're right, that's to be us three.
Simple
I
solution.
move to
Yeah, I
accept
think
that.
that's a great, that
December 18th.
that one question is
minutes.
great.
Alex, I second the motion.
Discussion? Vote? Aye, abstain,
Three.
301. Let's take up the minutes from December 3rd. It was a joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen. Need to refresh your recollection, Libby. Very brief.
You just enjoy, you wrote.
I move to accept the minutes from the December 3rd meeting.
I second.
Discussion? Vote? Aye.
Aye.
3-0. So our agenda for this evening looks very familiar to our prior agenda. Anyone have any news report on their prior discussion with any town board members?
I met with Cheryl Knudsen, Chair of the Board of Health. She also had written her answers, shared them with the full board, who then commented. So she gave me answers which are essentially from the entire board.
Good.
And then met with her and spent more than an hour talking. She did mention that there was a similar committee many years ago, and she was chair of the Board of Health at that time, and she was not asked to contribute, and she was insulted at the time, and had written a letter to, I believe, the Board of Selectmen about that. She has shared that with me, so I will share that with you all.
I'm glad we decided to talk to them.
Yeah. But that makes me think that it might be wise to invite all boards to participate. Whether they all choose to, I think, is up to them. I don't know if maybe I should say true.
Before we get into the specifics of the responses, what was your reaction to that process where she invited her whole board to discuss the answers?
On one hand, it slowed me down because, she and I would have been able to meet sooner, but she wanted to give her board more time. I think it then, I think it's fine. It takes away a little bit of individual personal feelings and makes it more of a group decision, but I think there's advantages and disadvantages both ways.
I met with Gail Bryson.
And what is she?
She's chair of the library board of trustees.
Thank you.
And it was fairly simple with her. As she said, she used to be on the Board of Health, and she said, if I ran into these for the Board of Health, it would take a lot longer, and it would be different. For the library director does most of the work and brings it to the board, and the board says, terrific, great, and that's that. We talked for about an hour, and it was interesting, informative, etc. I did bring up the thought that we might want to talk with somebody else in on the board, and she was fine with that. So that we didn't just get one person's point of view.
Did either of you put any feeler out there to see how they might, whether they'd be receptive to come visiting us as a board?
No, I didn't ask her that.
I did not ask you.
When you talked to Martha?
I had talked to Martha and I gung-ho committed to talking to somebody else, and I didn't get anybody else nailed down. So, and I didn't, follow up to some of the questions you just asked. I didn't ask Martha if Martha and I didn't discuss if anyone else on her board would participate in the conversation. I think Martha did not bring it to her board. I think Martha felt very comfortable answering because she's been on that board for a long time and has seen other aspects of the town government. So.
Well, that's fine. Thank you all for doing that. I've been trying to coordinate a meeting with Karen Dow. I'm actually hoping to meet with her tonight after the finance committee meeting. I don't know whether she knows that yet, but I've been, trying to call her during a window during commuting time, which is difficult because I need to have the questions in front of me to make sure I don't do that on Friday. So I need to try to coordinate with her and do better on my end to have an interview and get her feedback. And similarly, I would like to try to meet with Phil Knowles, who is the chair of the Board of Water Commissioners. So that's my plan.
Might I put out there that to help move this process along, now that we're past the holidays, that we all sign up for who we're going to, because instead of saying, okay, I'm going to get one more, it would be better if we all had a group of people that we sort of took responsibility for.
That's fine.
Or multiple people at this point, maybe not.
As long as we're going to continue down that path, path, that makes sense.
Yeah, we'll do.
I have a question before that one. How do you want us to handle the completed interview? Do you want us to send it out to everyone?
No, I don't want to do that yet.
Okay.
I mean, you have notes, I believe, on your own interview. Oh, it looks like you have some typed up notes.
Yeah, I typed it up.
Notes for yourself there.
And I kept my personal notes.
Yeah, so before you distribute that, because I don't think we've decided as a committee yet what we want to do about sharing them.
I just didn't know.
Because, well, once we share them, they're public records, so that's why I want to make sure we know what we're doing there.
I put this out there. I don't know that it's an issue, but before anyone's response becomes public, wouldn't it be good that we interviewed everyone? Only from the point of view of, oh, so-and-so thinks this, well, maybe I think that too. And I don't know that that would be I don't know that that would necessarily be an issue.
You're worried about us spoiling the other answers?
Yeah.
I only share it with the committee.
Well, once you share it with the committee, it's public.
Okay. I would assume it was public now. That's what I told Gail.
Well, it is public,
It
but
is.
we haven't, right now we only have our personal notes. okay?
Mhm.
You haven't showed me what
Right.
you put together, but as soon as we do that, then it's a public document. People can go walk into the town clerk's office and ask for it, people can,
Yeah, I agree with Roberta, I think that we want to hold off on doing that.
Okay.
Um,
She was when do we stop, you know, like at what point do we have a high enough end that we think we have a denominator?
I don't know the answer to that. I think we have to start doing some more interviews and figure out what kind of information we're getting better. And we just, actually, Libby and John just gave us a little bit of a outline of their discussions with their board chairs. I don't know, I just so you know, I've been trying to get together with Karen Dow and have not been able to do that yet. So I don't know if you've been able to get together with
I've got two.
two.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, I did, and Joe Geller for
Great.
the Open Space Committee and Joe Geller for the Rail Trail Committee.
Did he
And
give wildly different
and,
responses?
Two birds with one stone, I love it.
Well,
Yeah.
to get the second one, it took a bottle of wine, but we got there. So,
were his answers different?
slightly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they might
Yeah.
be, because you're representing a
Right.
different group,
Yeah.
Do you want to share any of that with us? How that went?
Basically, yeah, I mean, some of the questions I think are gonna be more pertinent than others, but,
Well, rail trail, I mean, in particular, is
Yeah.
very specific and
Right.
limited.
Yeah, and open space is
Open space is
ongoing.
far behind.
Yeah.
So, and that reflects the discussion we had with Roberta's,
yeah.
discussion with Martha and the planning board. It's just, it's a very specific role and there's,
Yeah,
beyond that, not a lot of interaction.
I took pretty detailed notes, but I'd like to, Libby's setting a high standard, I'd like to type them up so we
Okay.
have, and there's gonna be variations between each of us. If you guys interviewed Joe, you might have different nuances than I had.
Of course.
That's understandable.
It's not a science.
Right.
So, okay, good. So Roberta, I also agree with you that maybe we can pick out a couple more to try to get two each, say, before our next meeting. Does that sound right?
Sounds very reasonable.
All right. So then, this chart is coming in handy now, Dave.
Yeah,
So you can, the library.
Well, you get
I'd like to note that this will be the first time I'll be ahead of any of you guys in this committee. That recorded on film.
We'll remember, Dave.
Yeah.
So, planning board,
Did Martha?
Martha, I did
Martha.
Martha, yeah.
does anyone know, so, all right, let's do it this way rather than missing all the boards. Does anyone have someone other that they know that they would like to talk with?
I'm afraid I only know the moderator and no one else.
I'll
Would
do
you like to
Board
talk
of
to the
Assessors.
moderator?
It would be my pleasure.
All right.
I'll do
I
Board of
want it
Assessors.
down.
Okay, let's do this a little bit more organized. So we've got John, we're gonna put everyone's name down. John, you said, Steve.
I'm happy to take anybody else that you want to suggest.
Let's make this like a Christmas craft, so
Yeah.
in the holiday spirit here.
That's right.
Go ahead, Libby, who do you want?
Secret Santa.
Who do
I
you
did
wanna
Board
do?
of Assessors.
Board of Assessors. I don't know who the chair of the board is.
Neither do
Assessors Lynn Conant, I think.
Do you know
Okay.
Lynn?
I don't know her.
I don't have a problem with that. Do you want to continue across the elected, because we haven't gotten to the.
I don't think we're differentiating between elected and appointed at this stage.
Okay.
However,
Board of
Okay, well,
Health has been done.
Board of Health's been down, I'll do conservation and COA.
you gonna take two, huh? You gonna go out of turn here?
No,
Snake
that
on
makes sense.
Oh, I couldn't take two?
No, it's all right.
No, let her take as many
Take
as
as
you
many as you
want.
want. Unless someone has an objection, I don't think so.
I'll do the zoning board of appeals.
That's fine. I will say, they're gonna be like the planning board, though. They're very specific. They issue permits. and their interaction with the town administration is probably very limited. They're one of the more specific boards on here. Be my guess. Bob Moriarty is, I don't know him, but I know he's the chair, and I'm sure he'll be happy to talk to you.
I'm writing on yours.
That's okay.
So
Dave sent this to me, I have more.
it doesn't have,
Okay, so you can do the board of appeals.
and.
So you have two, right, board of assessors. Dave, do you wanna
I'll be randomly assigned
randomly assign?
as needed.
Alright, well, I'm gonna do
How long are you gonna be in China?
Karen Dow, Phil Knowles, and I need to put one more, then you and I can figure this out. Board of Road Commissioners, Board of Park, you know what?
Isn't that still
Well, that's
full?
Phil.
That's probably Phil, but I
Parks
I
and
could get,
Cemeteries
knock
is
off
one.
two there, but I was gonna say do the boards of Park and Recreation, because I meet with them soon anyway, so I'm gonna do that meeting. I'm gonna
And
ask.
the rec.
And I can,
Board-
if,
Board of Park.
And I think that's Steve.
if
Steve.
Phil is needed, I can do Phil goals.
I think Lou's-
Okay, Lou's gonna take it, that's
I
fine.
think who's signed up.
Well,
for that.
I say that because I know I probably need to meet with him soon
Okay.
anyway.
It's not Park and Rec, it's Park and Cemetery, right?
Park and Cemetery, yes, sorry, Board of Road Commissioners. That's both, Phil's board, the chair of the Board of Road Commissioners as well, or?
And water. I
And
think he's
water.
both, yeah.
I know he's on both, I didn't know if he's the
I
chair.
think he's the chair. Well, when I looked this up, I looked this up before Christmas. I don't think anything has changed.
Okay. So why don't I just, instead of saying Phil, I'll just say I'll do the Board of Road Commissioners, Board of Water Commissioners, Board of Park and Rec, I'm sorry, Board of Park and Cemetery, and FinCom.
We need to assign
We need,
Dave.
Dave needs one.
Although Dave, you're gone for how long?
But only 8 days, I do, feel free.
Just call someone from
Only 8
China.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanna take one more, this,
You take
guys
one more?
are taking a lot of
Let's
heavy.
see.
Who are you
Uh,
taking now?
You guys tell me,
Well, he's already done.
There's a housing authority,
yeah,
there's,
I'll do a housing authority.
yeah,
that's
there's a housing authority. Are we
Who that
we
person
should
be?
talk too.
That's Dick Cullinane.
fine. Okay,
There's the school committee too, we missed,
Yeah.
that's a big one, and the board of selectmen obviously too, so those are two big
Dick-
ones.
Dick's
that
in
we
Florida
put
for the
off.
whole month of,
Well,
January.
I
Let's wait for those two big
one.
ones.
Okay.
I think those are,
They're gonna be heavy.
the board of selectmen and the school committee are a little bit different.
see if you know his email.
I do have his email, so I'll send it to
Send
you.
it later.
So let's see.
So I need somebody else, but I'm happy to be assigned.
Think of
we,
different boards,
okay.
look them up here.
We did planning, we did highway, water, parks, library, trust funds.
Oh, there's a good one. Do you want to?
Happy to do it, I didn't know.
I don't know who the
Exists.
chair, I don't know who the
It
chair
says
is.
I'll do trust funds.
I'm opening up all the
Trust
boards
fund
pages right
is
now.
David,
David Strassen or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
Stratham.
he's elected.
Strong,
Commissioner of Trust
Strong,
Funds,
STRH.
Housing Authority,
STRHAN,
It's online, I'm sure.
I believe.
there's an Agricultural Commission,
Oh,
Alcohol Advisory Committee, that might be fun.
oh, actually, I know the person on that, but do we really care?
I don't know how often they'll interact.
But I'll take that one as well, if that's all right.
Okay,
unless you
that's fine,
want me
I
to.
don't object. There's a historical commission, that might be a good one.
The
I'll take
historical
that.
commission.
If you'd like, that's, you might ask.
I'm also on it, but I will take the alcohol. So let me tell you what I have so far here, okay? So I'm taking the moderator, I'm taking trust fund, I'm taking Board of Alcohol. Libby, you're doing the assessors, ZBA, and historical. Roberta, you're doing Conservation Commission and Council on Aging. Dave, you're doing Housing Authority, and Lou, you're doing FinCom, Road, Water, Park and Center.
I'll take another.
Yeah, you should give me another two.
Let's see.
Dave, you're doing housing authority?
Cultural Council.
Cultural Council,
Yeah.
okay.
So now, this is, I don't know how active some of these committees are. I don't know.
So we agreed after our first few that we were not gonna change the questions, is that right? That was, I remember we talked initially about,
Well, we're gonna have a beta, and then convene, which I don't think I don't think we specifically discussed changing them. I think we're satisfied with the questions.
Okay.
Now that the process has started, we're just gonna go through them. Did you find in your,
no, there's just some, I mean, on any
Different
interview that will say like not applicable.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
right.
found
Yeah.
that.
We get a lot of that.
Yeah.
Right, and at some point Cheryl Knudsen said, I think I've already answered that. So,
Yeah, and that's, that's what Martha said too. She said, I think I've already answered that, or that kind of repetitive.
There's a stormwater management committee. I'm trying to see who the chair of that is. That's,
It's under,
I think we have a good enough list to start with here.
yeah, we can,
We, so that we don't insult anybody, we wanna probably make sure we send out an invite to everybody. Maybe we can do some of the boards that we miss, with an invite to various department heads. Cause I'm looking at this list here, I think we've got the mostly covered, but there are things like tree planting committee. I don't know how actively they are involved with, town governance issue. There's a triad, I don't even know what that is, that's the first time I've seen that.
renewable energy. I'm looking at green communities.
The Topsfield Triad Council is a partnership focused on seniors. Includes a group of volunteer seniors, sheriff and district attorney of Essex County. So, the Triad's goal is to improve the quality of life for seniors for helping reduce concerns about their personal and financial safety.
Do we need to interview Evan Hagland and the police departments?
Well, I don't know if we're gonna do department heads just yet. I think we wanted to get through the boards first. And I still think that once we start talking to department heads, it becomes a little more sensitive, and difficult. So, when we get to that point, we'll need to stress that this is not about your job description or your job safety. This is just about, chain of command and structure, but they're somewhat related, so. So great, that's a great head start. So I think our next meeting is going to be scheduled for, we're gonna go back to Tuesdays, so it'll be the 22nd. So that gives us 2 weeks to try to get some interviews in.
Is that right after, I think that's right after the three-day weekend.
It is, so you have an
So-
extra day to prepare.
If you can find anything.
So, Dave, because I think we asked this from Roberta, and I'll ask with the Aussie next. Did you find that when you talked with Joe Geller that there were any questions that were very helpful or not so helpful?
No, I think they hit, I think when it comes to the number 6, time per spent, going at 100%, people, anytime you're trying to quantify something that's not regularly quantified, people are guessing, and that's fine too.
Okay. Libby, how about you, same question?
Actually, that was, the quantifying the time was one of the few questions you just belted right out, and didn't have a problem.
And you shared it in advance, right, the questions?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah,
good
but
idea.
she looked at them and then I took a copy with me.
Right.
But they were all, they seemed relevant to her and to me, and yeah, I got good information.
Does anyone have any other general comments or thoughts on our questions and interviews before we move on to the next topic? Investigating town governance effectiveness and efficiency. So, I've been trying to do some research on materials to help with this aspect of our task. There's some materials out there, and I've printed one that I'd like to share with people. This is from the Massachusetts Municipal Association. And just, you know, all your spare free time, if you want to run through this. There's a decent summary of not just how you might change local government, which we've discussed in the past, but reasons why you might do it. We've been approaching this as a committee from the beginning as, well, we might consider making that type of recommendation if something's not working, if something could be improved. But there are other reasons, and they're actually summarized in bullet points on the first page of this. I don't really think that any of them really apply to us necessarily, but we can talk about them.
Maybe that first one does.
Yeah,
Lou,
well, that was, that,
Yeah, Lou, this says is from Municipal Advocate, Volume 22, Number 2. Is that like a serial, you think?
I
Journal?
am not certain. I think it's, this was drafted by, it was available on the Mass Municipal Association website, but it was drafted by the Department of Housing and Community Development. So they may have a periodic journal that they keep. I'm not familiar with that journal.
Yeah.
But this one was cherry-picked by the MMA and put on their website. So it does get into some of the drier details about how you go about changing things, which just, again, we talked about, it was a charter or a special act. Those are the two avenues, that's it. Those are the ways we would do it. And we're not really even close to deciding whether that's what we'd ever recommend or not. But this just has some, I like the first page and things to think about what we might base our recommendation on if we were to make a recommendation or a change. Just going through the retirement of key personnel, in the relatively recent past, we've had some fixtures, key personnel retire, and I believe there are a couple people who are probably not all that far away from retirement. I was thinking more in the future, more than what the past personnel that had retired. I don't know how we'll, for the second bullet, the inability to attract candidates to serve, I don't know how attractive or unattractive our town is for people.
Do we ever have board vacancies go empty? I mean, there was a lot of people you lifted out for a town, you know, 6,000 people.
There's a lot of, and it's not unusual that there are some vacancies, or there are some people who fill more than one role, but I just think it's a function of most people don't get involved in town government. I mean, I see that in a lot of different communities. But I think what that means is for candidates isn't necessarily about boards, it's more about administrative and professional personnel of the town. So hypothetically, if there's a town with a town manager, form of government where the town manager has the final say, that town manager, as opposed to reporting to multiple boards, that town manager might find that position more attractive because they have more power. But we've definitely talked about the third bullet, or we've hinted at it. Some of our questions are aimed at finding out whether or not municipal departments are coordinating or communicating and operating effectively. I don't think we have to worry about an increase in population. Town meeting attendance might be improved, but again, I think that's a function of people's preferences and not really being active in town governance.
Well, you know, it would be interesting to see, like, percentage of towns. I think some of the limiting variable with town meeting attendance is the venue, the facility. So many people have to stand.
It could be. I've come across a lot of people who don't even know what town meeting is, honestly, and they don't care to know. But that could be part of it. I've tried to persuade people to come to town meeting, and they said, yeah, well, I'll think about it, and they don't come.
Right.
but you never know. It all depends on the person. And then the last bullet is definitely potentially something that we could consider. That gets into maybe operational territory more than structural territory. So anyway, if you would like to look at this, I thought you might find it interesting. Just to give you things to think about, because in theory we're working with a blank slate. You know, you could change elected to appointed officials with a special act, or vice versa. There's just, there are a lot of different options, and this might get you thinking about what some of them might be. But in my mind, I philosophically always taken the approach, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So that's why I suggested we interview people. So that's all I have for handouts. I did get one piece of correspondence from Dave Larson, which is a draft org chart, which I hadn't had a chance to look at until tonight, but I can share with people. But this is that draft org chart.
Oh, you got that? Thank you.
And
Did you create it?
what did you use it? Was it PowerPoint?
No, actually, I did it in Word,
Word. So
but you can,
picture
apparently
boxes.
you can do it in any, you can use that Smart Art.
Yeah.
It has,
Yeah.
I'm not an expert at it, so it took me a little while, it was fun learning. But it doesn't email well, that's why I sent you a PDF, I found out some of my lines shifted.
Well, we can, I'll use that as a start for sure. Let's talk, would it be helpful for our discussions to have an org chart for a future meeting? Should I spend some time to fine tune that and circulate it? Or to find that useful?
Absolutely.
Hey, you want me to send you the Word version of Lou?
Sure, that'd be
Because
great.
you can't do much with the PDF to change it.
That's for sure.
Yeah, that's fine, thank you.
Yeah, I think will be interesting to see if our org chart looks like any of the org charts that you sent to us from
Yeah, well,
other things that were common ways that
I
towns
have,
are organized.
I have that org chart. Those org charts that I sent are less comprehensive.
They're simple.
They're simpler.
But it'd be
yes.
interesting, if we simplify ours, will they look like one of these, or will it look different? That's what would be interesting.
This is the one that you're, oh, that's representative town meeting.
I was gonna say, that's
Maybe
Well, that's
Form 3?
It's Form 3, that's the one I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I've got Form 1, 2, and 4. Yeah, that's the one.
Well, there's,
So that
This is
that might be,
Form
This is
three.
Form 3. Form 3 might be all we need at this point,
Mm-hmm.
because it basically has, boxes for elected boards and officials that are unfilled. But that's essentially our form of government right there in Form 3.
3 and
It's
4 are actually
also-
pretty similar.
But they are,
They are.
but 4 is a representative town meeting, which,
Which is
you know,
different.
which is,
Which is-
they have
Oh,
multiple
not
members of
every-
town meeting, as
Got it.
opposed to, all residents come and vote.
Yeah.
And I read, I can't remember exactly where I read this, but according to Commonwealth law, this Form 3 is the only form of government for a town 6,000 and under.
That's correct, unless you get a special act or charter.
Right.
Oh,
So I think that we're approximately 68.
So close.
We should kind of remember it.
Even, I don't think that the population size is really that important. If we wanted to change our form of government regardless of size, the state would work with us to adopt legislation. So that's really not a limiting factor at all. It's,
Well, I'm not calling it a limiting factor.
no, I
I'm
know,
just
but it's,
calling what's real.
it's, regardless of our size, we are the most basic form of open town meeting government, traditional, historic form, you know. Essentially, it the form of our government is the result of you know, organic growth over 200 years, essentially, of statutes. And so that would be one reason to review it and to decide whether or not, you know, do we want to go through this organic growth of mishmash of statutes, or do we want to have one governing legislative document, either charter or special act, that governs our structure? So there are advantages and disadvantages to both. The advantages are we know this. The disadvantages are it's basic and spread out horizontally, and with the other form of government, we don't really know what that would be because we haven't chosen it yet. But the disadvantage would be it would be an unknown to us, and we have to feel our way through it. So I didn't mean to push through to correspondence material. Does anyone have any other thoughts about investigating governance, effectiveness, and efficiency? Any general comments about approach, about studying other towns, or discussions with other towns, not just town of Topsfield board members or residents?
Do we want to bring in anyone from just, any from other towns that maybe changed or didn't change, talk about why they do it?
We could do that, and what's interesting actually too is on the MMA Ways website is a study on the Topsfield town form of government. We talked about this a little bit. This was they used us as a case study from the 2006 change in government. I only have one copy of that, but I could pass that around, but it
Yeah,
might be
if you could
better.
send that out,
email.
that'd
Yeah,
be great.
that might be good to take a look at.
I have an old college roommate who's chair of the selectmen in Belmont, and he'd be willing to come up and talk to us. I don't know if there's any value to that.
I happen to know that Belmont is a representative town meeting. I think that's pretty different from
Okay.
what we're doing.
All right.
I think Belmont's a very different community than we are, just for size and.
Right.
And
We only have 3 selected still.
I don't know. I know they have a town manager.
Yeah.
So I don't know what his or her powers are.
Right.
But
Okay,
I
then I'll
suspect
bring
it's a
one.
very,
Yeah.
very much professionally managed town.
Yeah.
Not that Topsfield isn't, but I'm guessing that town manager runs most of the show.
Right. Is that where Kelly came from?
I think she was there at one point.
Yeah.
But she had a stop and roll, and I don't really know the history, the secrets. So, my feeling is keep it Topsfield specific and see how that goes. And then, once we go through the boards, decide whether or not we want to have a public forum, or invite other boards to come to with us, or perhaps sit in with other boards. It might be useful, based on your experience with the Board of Health, it might be useful if we could suggest, that their whole boards review the questions. So, they didn't vote on that, did they? Board of Health didn't vote on it, they just reviewed the question.
To my knowledge, it was.
Just a discussion.
To my knowledge, Cheryl drafted the answers, shared it with the rest of the board, and they provided feedback. She cleaned up the answers.
Great, so, we all set for 7:30 on Tuesday, the 22nd?
Mhm.
Oh, there was another correspondence that we received today that John and I received with regard to a public records request. So we are helping the town attend to that.
Debbie just asked us for the minutes from the last
The
2
minutes,
minutes, that's
yeah.
all it was.
That's
She
all
didn't
it was.
specify anything, he was asking a little while.
So we provided those. to Debbie, and then we provided it to whoever requested the reports. I didn't see the request, but they requested it, so. Any other topics from committee members?
Well, there were two, there was one batch of minutes that wasn't approved yet.
The December 3rd one?
Yeah.
Yes. Those are now approved, but those weren't asked for.
Mhm.
They were looking for our meetings from the 4th and the 18th, excuse me.
So we're not putting those in a public place, or?
No, I'm sending the minutes to Debbie.
Debbie.
I may not have sent the 18th yet because we hadn't had those approved. So that's it. Any other comments? Anyone?
Dave doesn't have any comments?
I apologize.
Yeah.
Disappointed.
No, he started off the
He's
meeting.
busy. I make a motion, we adjourn.
I second it.
Get that, John?
Yes.
Discussion? All in favor?
Sure.
Aye.
Yeah.
Is there ever, anything other than a 5-0 or unanimous vote on
Adjourning.
adjourning?
There has
Right.
not, though there's something
Like to
in the
stick
gap
around.
between the motion and the,
Okay.
and the.
I